Hello everyone. Now you will hear a brief retelling of the film Island of the Immortals. Pleasant viewing. Grace and Bobby live on a remote island during a home birth. A woman lost a child from grief. A drunkard continued to get drunk. And here also the travelers from the mainland scooped out all the fish because of what suffer local fishermen. Suddenly Bobby and his friend heard a baby crying after storming ashore. Several boats ran aground under one of them. Bobby discovered the baby. The islanders surrounded the baby. Bobby cut himself pulling the girl out of the water, and the wound healed before his eyes. At the same time, Bobby's feeble-minded mother-in-law suddenly looked ahead. 10 years later, Grace and Bobby adopted a girl and named her Ayla. With her appearance on the island, the fishermen forgot what empty nets are, and Faye was completely cured of dementia. The islanders stay away from the rest of the world. They have their own way of life here. The most important role in their lives is played by 10-year-old Isla, whom everyone is constantly thanking.
Many thanks.
Isla, thank you. I'll see you soon.
Thank you very much, Isla.
Isla is friends with Bojnior's son.
Have you seen people from the mainland?
No, but I heard them when the radio was on.
After a while, the inhabitants of the island got rid of both the radio and the televisions. The children came upon a wasp's hive. Isla held out her hand to him, and the insects immediately clung to her. Junior smiled until the wasp stung him. He asked his friend to help. The girl stung without thinking. And all the wasps died in the same second. Ayla asked Junior not to tell anyone about what happened now. When a ship sails near the island at night, one of the locals beats a homemade bell and turns off the lights in the houses so that they are not noticed. Drunk Bobby became mayor of this wonderful village. He allows fishermen to take turns taking Isla with them out to sea. Then they will definitely have a great catch. Bobby was involved in fistfights at home. He touched the girl. After 10 seconds, all the bruises and abrasions disappeared. The rest of the fighters came here to be treated. In addition, the locals, with the help of a girl, get rid of a hangover every morning. Isley wondered where the France she'd read about was. In the book, her grandmother began to convince her that this was a fictional place. Bobby, as he had promised the men that night, took his daughter fishing. She dipped her hand into the water. The fish swam here in schools. At the same time, Philip ate poisonous berries. Now he has 15 minutes to find Isla and heal. The group of children ran to Isla's house, but today the girls were not there for some reason, and Philip is getting worse every second. Before he appeared, he worked as a doctor, so now all hopes for him put the boy on the table. The boss gave him first aid. The man cleared Philip's stomach, but he was all ready. Breathing in a few hours, the fishermen caught fish for a week ahead. The evil irony is that one of them is the father of the poisoned boy, and he took advantage of Isla's gift off schedule. Philip could not be saved. Isla for the first time decided to try to bring a dead man back to life. But she failed. This event shocked all the inhabitants of the island, especially Islo. She tried again to revive the insect, but in vain. She cooked dinner. Grace cut her finger with a knife, but for some reason it didn't heal early. Bobby also cut his hand. Before, he would have healed in a few seconds, but now, for some reason, Fila couldn't help him. The mayor gathered all the villagers and announced that God was reopening his hospital.
Why? Why didn't we need 9 or 10 years?
What's special about today, Mr. Mayor?
My God, what happened?
Bobby explains what happened by saying that Isla had a traumatic experience. She is tired, so visits will be cancelled. Residents began to protest. They say it will hurt her even more, because they have been coming to her all their lives. However, this makes no sense, because Isla's healing gift has dried up anyway. People have already received a lot of health and harvest every year. But the residents are still dissatisfied. They envy Grace and her husband, who have not aged. The day after Isla's appearance, Faye said that she needed to hold a vote and didn't care what her parents decided. The islanders voted to continue the visits, and the girl now has to constantly apologize for not being able to help her neighbors. Philip's parents came to the mayor and told him that Mystery was going to visit the mainland. Little Susan is suffering the death of her brother, and they want to get qualified help. The couple promised not to tell anyone the rule. Bob still refused them. The mayor himself is also not going to show Ayla doctors, because on her immediately begin to conduct various experiments. During a support group meeting, the woman admitted that she now worries that she will die of cancer, like her mother and grandmother, because before Ayla's gift saved her from the disease. She felt dementia creeping in again. The woman couldn't even finish the thought. Faye wakes up in her bed and is trying to figure out how she got here.
Grandma, I'm sorry I can't cure you.
The woman is not offended because Isla gave her another 10 years of a full life. Isla came to visit Junior, and Bo invited the children to see a real miracle. In his attic, a man hid a small TV. So, friends found out what the movie is and promised to keep it a secret. Bovtain Grace went to her daughter when she was sleeping, and suddenly the cut disappeared right before her eyes. Bobby's hand also healed. This means that the gift returns to Kayla while she sleeps. Bobby asks his wife to keep it a secret to protect Ayla, even if at all. To sacrifice her mother's health, Bon got drunk and visited a support group. There he whines every day about being left without Ayla's gift. God took the word. He remembered how Dylan had torn his shoulders 15 years ago while pulling a fishing net. He walked like a penguin then, but everyone was proud of him, and now this strong man is crying because a 10-year-old can't cure his hangover.
You were drunk. It's best you leave.
Don't worry, I'm leaving. The doctor believes that all the residents have lost their minds and forgotten what real life is. Afterwards, Bo came to the parents of the dead boy. He intends to help Frank and Melissa steal the boat because he also wants to escape from this island with his son. It turned out that the active spouses had already dismantled the floor in the house and built a boat from the boards. At night, Grace's mother showed up. She wants tea and is waiting for her father, who died many years ago. Grace still neglected Ayla's safety and took her mother to the girl's room. It immediately became clear to the woman that the fishermen are now suffering. Their nets are always empty. There is not enough cod to survive the winter. All this time, they hoped that Ayla would still come to her senses. Something happened that Bobby was so afraid of. Faye brought sleeping pills. She offers to pump up email. Using her gift in a dream is a difficult decision, but the village will not starve. Worst of all, Grace supports her mother. Bobby was worried that his daughter would be used as a test subject, and that's exactly what's happening now. He now also wants to leave the island, but his wife preferred to stuff the girl with pills. Sleeping Ayla was dragged to the sea at night and thrown into a boat. The important decision now is not for the mayor to make, but for a support group led by Faye, according to the woman GR. Community well-being matters.
And thank you.
Ayla.
The caught fish was salted, dried, and withered. All the residents are in a great mood again, except Ayla Boss Face, as a friend could allow such a thing to be done to his daughter. If Bobby intends to save Ayla, he is ready to give up his seats on the boat to Frank and Melissa. They can only take 2 with them. Back home, Bo found Faye with him. She found out about the TV and sent it. He has cancer next door. The woman suspects that the doctor is going to leave the community and perhaps take Isla with him, and after all, their families have lived on the island longer than others. The man asks to face. The child should not suffer because of her fears. The woman hugged Boe, went outside, began to cry, and headed to the fisherman Dylan. Suddenly Bo fell to the floor. He felt sick. The man died within seconds. Faye tossed him the bottle, the same poisonous berries, and Bobby picked up the girl in his arms in the middle of the night and ran to the couple who built the boat. They saw that the hospital was on fire. Dylan dragged Bo's body here and burned it together with a creature. Because of what happened, Frank and Melissa escaped the island before the agreed time. Unfortunately, Bobby did not have time. He saw the feet of a friend who was lying on the threshold of the burning hospital. The escaped family immediately contacted the police, and in the morning, strangers swam to the island. Fishermen sounded the alarm. All residents were ordered to stay in their homes, and Dylan took out a gun from his stash in the boat. He saw a policewoman and a social worker, and they were sure that no one had lived on the island for a long time.
It's not difficult. We need a little.
How do you get to the mainland?
No way.
Emily suspects that there is a safety risk for the children on the island, so she would like to see Ayla. The women did not wait for permission and headed for the house. Bobby members of the community closely watched the uninvited guests and followed them in a crowd. Junior sneaked into the boat and asked the dispatcher to send more people to the island. Grace rules Emily to her daughter's room. Nancy remained outside surrounded by aggressively Nastro. A woman asks everyone to go home, but no one listens to her. Emily asks Ayla about her safety.
Are you really like us?
Meanwhile, Junior armed himself with a police shotgun and approached Ayla's house. Emily was about to leave, but then the girl pointed out that the social worker had violated an important rule.
I'm sorry.
When you leave, you should say thank you to Ayla.
Emily decided to take Seven to the station and ask a couple of questions there.
An hour ago, you had no idea we existed. Now you're telling us what to do?
Nancy demands that people move apart. She and Dylan pull out guns and point them at each other, and one of the women attacks Emily. Nancy accidentally shoots Bobby, and Dylan kills a police officer badly wounded. Bobby is dragged into the house. Faye sets conditions. They will help him if Bobby swears to stay with the community forever. Hearing the right words, Faye dissolves the pills in water, and Grace begins to coerce Ayla. Junior managed to get her into the house. He burst into the room and pointed a gun at Grace, demanding that she get behind Ayla. He suspects Faye is to blame for his dad's death. The woman lunged at the boy and was killed on the spot. Ayla screamed and clenched her fists. A moment later, not only Grandma was dead, but Junior as well, Bobby, the fisherman, and the rest of the villagers lay dead with Grace. The girl went outside and walked along the path, stepping over the bodies of dozens of people. There was not a single living soul left on the entire island except Ayla. She asked everyone's forgiveness and began to wait at the shore when people would pick her up from the mainland.